Welcome to Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld with my friend Barbara Slane, who's co-hosting this from the Life Balance Center, and the lovely light being Chris Griscom from New Mexico, Galisteo, New Mexico. Welcome here. So me and Barbara and I focus on how to get The Ecstasy is the New Frequency, one of my favorite books that Chris has written. We're going to talk about this new time that we're in and the awakening of consciousness. And Chris, I'll just introduce you as being a leader of this evolutionary light movement. For 30 years or more, probably much longer, you've been on the forefront, bringing people into this greater state of awareness through this shamanic passage into the light. And now it is a planetary experience. So we'll talk that, but I just want Barbara to talk about her personal experience of working with you. So Barbara, do you want to share that?
Absolutely. I had the, well, there's no accident. So I met Chris at a time where there were a lot of changes in my life and beliefs that I had a whole pain in my body, a lot of past lifetimes with that, and did extensive work with Chris. We did tons of past life releasing, but I apart from that, what really stayed with me more than any other practice was the teachings of bringing in the light, using color to heal ourselves, our loved ones, and the planet. And it's actually so beautifully simple, but extremely effective. And I know Chris is going to talk about it. So to me, Chris is just authentic and connected to that higher frequency. And we all know that the higher our frequency, the less we're going to attract the lower frequency situations. I had COVID for 24 hours. It was like a little breeze. I know that my work with Chris and my ongoing work allowed that situation to not be a situation at all. And then again, we do all have our karma, so there's respect for everyone. So I just love your work, Chris. I've always loved it. And I'm so glad you're here with us.
Oh,
yeah.
that's so kind.
So Chris, you want to talk about, as a visionary, you've seen this coming in some form and we're at this nexus point. So what do you see from your point of view about where we're at in the future?
Well, I see that we're at this wonderful point. It's kind of like humans wait until we're hanging over the edge. And then we become illuminated. We recognize, we see what's going on. We're kind of there. What I want to say is that we are ready. We are ready. And that's why we're facing death. I myself have had 6 near-death experiences. I've been on the other side. And so I can truly, truly say that once we come to how could it all fall apart? How can it begin anew? This is a very exciting time. There are no beginners on the planet. Doesn't matter whether they're dying or starving or what situation any human is in. Every human that's here at this time is a part of our soul family and is playing their role in order to awaken the rest of us so that we see the purpose, because there are no accidents. There's a purpose in this pandemic. This is a repetition. You know, imagine that there's not any of us who haven't had someone in our forefathers die of a pandemic in the past. We have. And so we have imprinted in us a kind of fear, an unconscious fear, because for sure, I tell you, your great-great-great-great-great-grandparents died in one plague or the Spanish flu or something. And we have carried from the beginning.
Great-grandparents did. Yeah.
Say again?
Yeah. So how do we get through this from a higher conscious perspective? I mean, everyone does it in their own way, but what comes to you? as a
What
visionary?
comes to me is to begin with really looking inside and clearing away the fear of it. Fear of death, fear of disease, and learning how to connect. When people have a disease, you know, they have to, it's a timeout. They have to listen to their body. And that's part of the purpose of this, is that we as humans have never wielded our bodies as potential bodies, as bodies that can perform miracles. And that's what's being asked of us right now. So what I would say is at the Light Institute, we have many different kinds of what we call exercises in consciousness, ways to tune into that fear and dissolve it away. And again, I bring this up about our forefathers because I call it psychogenetics. You may be amplifying that fear. If you stay in a state of fear, you are inviting, you are vulnerable to manifest, because you're so powerful, to manifest the very thing you're afraid of. So I would begin by get rid of your fear and begin to reinvent who you are in your body and the purpose of your life.
So Chris, you talk about fear, and fear is a lower consciousness, a lower frequency, like the virus, correct? And so
Yes.
some of the techniques that you have done, I find very helpful. And I'm just wondering if we could go with your chosen ones about the frequency, about the light, about the spinning, because I think people need tools. We can talk about this, and people talk about it so much and they're in their head, but how do we access that light and that frequency?
I would love to spend this whole time with you in that vein. So let's begin with an exercise in consciousness. And you could use these words in different ways, but let's say, where are each of us holding our fear of this pandemic? You know, that we're going to get it, that someone's going to die, all of those conversations. So this is the way we're going to do that. We're going to ask our body where we're holding that fear. We're going to bring our conscious awareness into that place in our body. And we're going to use light, because the body's made of light, to just wash it away. We don't need it. Ready? Here we go. Close your eyes, take a deep breath into your body. And breathe out slowly through your mouth. Now ask your body where it's holding the fear of this pandemic, that this virus is going to get you, or all of us. You might hear the place in your body, or see it, or feel it. Just imagine what comes to you. Where is it? Now bring your conscious awareness into that place in your body, wherever it is, and just kind of allow yourself to perceive that fear. Is it a squeezing kind of energy? Is it a dark kind of energy? Just notice that element of fear. And now ask your body in that place that you're holding the fear, what frequency of light, what color you need to wash that fear out of your body, because it does not serve you. It does not allow you to be the healer. It does not allow you to access your purpose. Take the first color that comes into your consciousness, except black, which is not a color. So breathe deeply and just imagine the color that your body shows you. And now laser or suck that color into that place in your body where you're holding the fear, and feel that color just washing it out. So that it's not a point of reference for you at this moment. The fear of the virus will not help you. It will not heal you. Get rid of it. Dry in the color, scrub it around in that place, and feel that it's washing away the fear. And then check into that space again and feel how it's shifted. And then take a deep breath and open your eyes. Now, Barbara, at the Light Institute, we always can do things around the hologram. So for example, you could do that exercise in consciousness by saying, where am I holding fearlessness at this moment? The courage to go on in my life. I am not going to be afraid. I'm not going to contract. You could ask that, and your body will tell you, and go into that place in your body. If it's a positive question, like where am I holding my fearlessness, then you would open that space and let that energy of fearlessness flow through your whole body. so that each of your trillions of cells begin to align with, I'm not afraid, I am fearless. And that's the kind of energy we need right now. Can you give us a quick, how did that happen for you just now? So people get the idea of this?
Yeah, no, so I'm feeling pretty fearless because I went through it, but I was able to pick up a residue around my heart, and the
Good.
color purple. It was purple, and
I got purple too, Barbara. I got purple too.
Now, let
that's
me
what I
ask you,
use.
did you both get a rich purple or did you get the violet purple? Which purple did you get?
I got more of
Medium purple?
I got
like a regal
I think it was
purple.
the rich person. Rich, yeah.
Me too.
Good, because you know that is a very specific frequency. That rich purple is the color of authority, it's color of majesty, and so it really lends a kind of power to that color. Yes, that one.
That color,
Yeah,
yes.
and I was surprised because I didn't feel it, and then I felt it dispersing. And I want to tell a quick story. After we left we were out in beautiful Galisteo, and I was with my girlfriends. It was quite the experience, and we were on the plane, and there was a stewardess that looked so unhappy, and I turned to both of them and I said, let's all intuit what color she needs. And it was that pink rose quartz. And I said, okay, guys, let's blast her. We sat there and did it for 5 minutes, and no joke, within 10 minutes, she was giving us more, pretzels and was just happy. Like, we saw her shift, and these girls are on the call now, and it was so beautiful. We are so powerful.
I'm so glad you told that story, because again, this very exercise, that's an example of how well you can use it to help other people, because we are all connected psychically. She felt the light. She felt the color. Our bodies are completely in tune with the colors of light. And so she received it. She actually received it at the speed of light, immediately as soon as you sent it.
So quickly, and we saw it, and we all picked up the same color. And so as you said,
that's very important, Barbara. It's very important to note for everyone that you must let the other person choose the color. If you're saying, if maybe you know someone who's sick and you want to say, what color do you need from me to build your immune system or to get well? They must choose the color. So you wait until you get an impression. And it's so fascinating that you've all got that rose quartz pink, because of course it's the color of love and rejuvenation. Perfect.
It was so beautiful.
What's the difference between that violet, the dark, rich purple, and the other purple? But also, Barbara, can you silence your phone? We're getting some pings from I think your side.
Is it from the phone or the computer?
I don't know.
Okay,
you
sure.
But anyway, talk about that richness of color and how colors, well, our world is color and we are somehow made of color, and you figured out a code for that, Chris. I
have. You know what's so interesting is that I've traveled around the world and I've lived with people who don't really have contact with the modern world. And it doesn't matter who you are on the planet. We humans all will relate to green in the various, green is the center of our color spectrum, for example. And even if, like in Paraguay, with the native Indians in Paraguay, they would respond to it emotionally, psychically, in the same way that you or I would. But they would choose a frequency that was exactly what they needed at that moment. Now, if we did that exercise of fear 2 hours from now, your body would give you a different color because it would have shifted. What we know, and this is why color is so powerful, that when the RNA tells the DNA how to reconstruct itself, it does it through an ultraviolet light. So the body is made of light and it's sensitive to light. And all of the endocrines, which are the threshold between our physiological bodies and our light bodies, they all are tremendously affected by light. For example, you guys in New York, if you sleep and a street light is affecting you, it will influence your pineal gland. It will keep you from sleeping. You won't make melatonin. You will not have those hormones that pineal gland puts out, which of course also gives you psychic capacity, because the light at night will disturb it. So our bodies are very, very sensitive to light. That's why it works. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, or what the circumstances is. Everyone will pick up that light instantly, just as Barbara was talking about.
Chris, I have a question. So
Okay.
apart from tuning in the light that we need at a certain time, or asking what color frequency that other person might need, how do we
Yes.
keep our frequency buoyed up at this time? What should we do during the day to keep it
Good.
raised higher?
Good. There's so, I mean, I could go on a whole hour just on that, but I'm going to give you my number one thing. My number one thing is spinning, but let me tell you about that first, because I want to talk about frequencies for just a minute. What we know is that the normal frequency for the human body is 62 to 75 or 78 megahertz. At 60 megahertz, dropping just 2 megahertz, you are open to flu, cold, and virus. This is very important, because if you can get your frequency up above 62 megahertz, you will not allow that energy to come in. If it drops down 3 more megahertz to 57, you are open to all kinds of diseases. If it drops down to 42,
how do you raise the frequency?
if it drops down to 25, you die. That's a scientific
How
fact.
do you
So
raise the
now
frequency? That's how you raise the frequency. Okay, show us that.
But that makes sense because
knowing that, we want to up our frequency, and the first thing that will do that is the spinning. Because when we spin, just imagine in a hospital or something where they're spinning your blood, you know, and centrifugal force, if you spin around, you will spin out from your body the contraction, the slowness, the low vibration, and you will lift your frequency up. So you do that just like children. You open your arms and you spin around to the right. Now this is very important. Always to the right until you get dizzy. You might only spin 2 times. You might be able to spin 10 minutes. And as soon as you get dizzy, then you look at your thumbs. Now, this will instantly, first of all, it will quicken your frequency. It will stop the chatter. It will allow you to go into an alpha state, which is an expanded consciousness. So if you're angry, if you're frustrated, if you feel depressed, spinning around will shift all of that in a matter of moments. And you can do it anywhere. You can do it absolutely. I used to do it in the little bathroom stalls in Europe when I had to give big talks, so that I could quicken that frequency so that my auric field would radiate out. Because with all these masks, which are foolish, with all these masks that people are wearing, there's a lot more fear of each other, you know? And so we want to remove that fear. We want to communicate, I like you and I am safe for you. So spinning around is very important. Now, if you have children, grab your child by the arms and spin around together. You know, children love to spin. Of course, they often spin counterclockwise like the Sufis do. The Sufis do it counterclockwise because they're spinning God in. They're not paying attention to their bodies. We spin clockwise to clear out so that we can quicken our frequency. Children, because they're used to drawing in energies from being in their mother's womb, they still are pulling energies in. So we want to teach children those exercises of light and color so that they radiate out. But spinning would be my first one. My second one would, frankly, would be the power of essential oils, because they are electric, like our bodies. And so, for example, especially, well, frankincense is pretty good, but rose oil is way above everything else. It's like 200 and something megahertz. Imagine, I just put some on. You can tell that I put some on because my frequency is way up there right now. So using essential oils to quicken that electricity. The Chinese have always said, blood follows qi and qi follows blood. And so any exercise that you do will help your frequency in truth. If you run or any kind of thing, yes.
I have a question. So for example, with the rose oil, Where do you
Yes.
place it?
Well, because I'm an acupuncturist, I would always put some first on my right ear, right here. These are acupuncture points on the middle of my forehead and on the top of my head. Now, about 20 years ago, I started that. And I remember when I first would put it on, it would almost make me dizzy. I couldn't think because it would shoot my energy up so much. Isn't that interesting? And but you could put it anywhere. You could smell it or put it over your heart. You know, I think the heart is good. The throat is great, but I like these upper octaves.
I love that. I think rose oil for this time on the planet is, we should all have rose oil.
Well, it's a hard
Yes,
opening.
absolutely.
I have a question from the chat room that says, how is the frequency of the body actually measured when you say the body's at a certain frequency? What's the
That's a
science?
scientific fact, and there are machines that can do that. You and I can't do it because we don't have those machines, but you will know, you will feel that difference. And guess what? You can actually ask your body. In this, there are so many ways to let your body tell you what is true. The body never lies. Here's one of them. You take it, make a little circle like this. Is kinesiology. Make a little circle like this, and then you come in with the other side and make a figure 8, so that you've got this intertwining. And then watch. Okay, body, is my megahertz above 62? If you pull and it won't break, it's above 62. Is my megahertz above 170? No. If it's an answer is no, it will break apart. So again, we are so locked into the specifics of things. I gave you those numbers because I wanted you to see how amazing we are in terms of our energy. But don't get caught up in that. Just, just say, body, am I healthy? Is my frequency good? Yes, that's enough. And once your body tells you that, this is so wonderful, Alan. That knowing begins to influence your sense of self and the way that your body functions. And that is very important because you can't have it both ways. You can't say, I'm vulnerable, I'm the victim because I'm not well, which may be true, and say, I'm the powerful one. Choose to be the powerful one, and the part of you that's vulnerable will go away.
Yeah.
You need to be your true self now, not your victim self.
Exactly. That's what this is testing us to be. So in terms of evolution, this time planetary species evolution, what do you see this is about, this moment, this threshold we're on?
I think it's a threshold. I think it is what I call a funnel of initiation. It is asking us, and Gaia, Earth is showing us, the moment we stop driving around, et cetera, within a week, the waters were clear, the skies were clear, the sounds of nature came forward. She showed us how quickly she could heal. We could heal our bodies in the same way. So this pandemic is not here to get us. It's here to ask us to begin to use our bodies, as I talk about, as potential bodies, bodies that can bilocate, bodies that can heal the self and others, bodies that can do magnificent things and use consciousness as the base of our purpose of existence. So this is not a punishment. I really, people are suffering, and it's a terrible time, not only physically, but financially in all ways. The reason for that spiritually is to leap across the abyss. Leap across the abyss of a reality that no longer functions. We cannot have the haves and have-nots. We cannot have starvation. We cannot have wars. We must attune to levels of consciousness. I've always said, if you recognize that you had a psychic intuitive aspect, nobody could make war on you because you would know it. And so we would begin to live in a different way. This is not pie in the sky. This is an opportunity to say, Wow. Like it or not, we will never go back to normal. We will never go back to where it's been before. Let us go on, because that is why it has happened. It is said, leap across that abyss or fall into it. Choose. And I think we're going to choose to leap across the abyss. But the wonderful thing about it, and this is very important in terms of the part of it, is what, what Spock would say, for the good of the whole, for the good of the whole. We must now understand that what happens to you happens to me. And so I must be a caretaker of you. I must care about your existence, and to realize that the graciousness and the consciousness with which you live influences the potential that I have to live in the same way. So I see this not as a punishment, but as a necessary threshold. We don't have to spend years dying of a virus. We need to recognize that, again, lift your megahertz and choose. Don't be vulnerable. If you are, and my first teaching from a spiritual, she was a curandera in Mexico, and she said, the purpose of disease is never to punish you or because there was something wrong with you. It's to show you how to move to the next level, but to take time out and go deeply inside the self. She would say, whole in the spirit, whole in the body, by which she meant that the spirit is teaching the body through any experience. So we don't have to feel badly if we have a disease, but we must use life. We must use the disease or the health or whatever there is.
Chris, just two quick things. Yeah. Well, first of all, I love what you said about the planet healing, because it is quickly. Ozone layers are healing. Everything is healing quickly. So that's a reflection that we could heal just as quickly, just as rapidly. It doesn't have to be a whole long, drawn out drama at all.
But there's a hook in it. And the hook is, she's showing us, look, if you change your ways, it's easy to heal. That's beautiful. The hook. Will you change your ways, or will you say, oh, it has to go back? Because it will not. So we have to figure out in our brilliance how not to pollute the earth anymore, how not to starve each other, how not to, we have the intelligence. We made computers. We've gone to the moon. We can figure out how to do this in a way that protects our earth and ourselves. We can.
Within ourselves, we have the power to do it within ourselves, that we're being asked to go in and then to go out, which is kind of.
Here's something that I think is very vital. We're asked to discover our conscious potential. The answer to pollution, the answer to how not to use carbon anymore, it could come from a 10-year-old. We've all had many incarnations. All we have to do is begin to say to our own inner voice, our higher self, show me how to participate and reinvent a world and a body and a world relationship in new ways. And our higher selves will show us.
Chris, last thing, Alan, I'm sorry. You mentioned you think the mask is unnecessary, and there's so much controversy. Can you explain that, what your feeling is?
I know I'm really risking by making that comment. And here's what I want to say. The World Health Organization, WHO, has stated publicly that we should not be using the masks. First of all, I'll tell you why I think we should not. But they've said the only people using masks should be the ones that have the filters, that are the ones that are taking care of the sick people, because they have a way of purifying. If you just put something over your mouth and your nose, you're breathing your carbon dioxide, all of your toxins into it, and then you're breathing them back into your body. So you're creating an environment that's toxic. That's one of the reasons that I don't like it. But the true reason I don't like it is that as I wear a mask, you can't see who I am. And so now I feel like we have this idea that we must follow this. It's harking back to a place where we never dared to do something outside of the norm, outside of being a sheep. Now, let me do say that I don't wear the mask, but I don't just walk around. I stay home. But when I go, which I do, out into public, I put clove oil on. I put all kinds of essential oils on my body, on my hands as well, so that I cannot infect you because I have these energies that are killing the virus around me, and your viruses can't get into me because I have them. So this is very important. If you're not going to do this, you must do something else. And for me, there's a difference between I'm hiding behind this because I'm afraid, and I'm putting on my essential oils to say, this is for you, body, you are safe. We need to communicate to each other that we are safe together, each one of us. So I would say everyone has to decide for themselves, but I find it fascinating that the world authority on health has said the masks are not helping. So we're doing it because we're so afraid. I think we should wash our hands. A great authority said, don't wash your hands with soap. That takes 20 seconds. Have you ever tried to stay washing your hands for 20 seconds? If you use salt, if you use sea salt and wash your hands, it kills, it's been proven, it kills the virus in 4 seconds, seconds. So what I'm saying is that if we use our intelligence, we can find ways to help our emotions, to help our physiology, and to communicate to each other that we are safe. So if you put on a mask, I would recommend that you don't wear it very long. You wear it and then take it off when you get home. Wash your hands in salt and put some clove oil or something. The reason that this is known is that there's at the time of the plague, the Black Plague, the thieves, they call it the thieves, put on all kinds of oils and garlic and things like that around their necks and covered their bodies. And then they went in and robbed everybody who was dying. And they never got sick.
That's right.
And so there's information. Yes.
The thieves.
Frankincense. Frankincense. Clove is my favorite because it's so powerful. Clove, tea tree oil, which you can't put inside your body. But you can put these things on and they will kill a virus. There are many substances you can take that are proven to kill viruses. For example, olive leaf extract kills a virus. You know, there are many, many things. So we need to be intelligent. We need to explore, what do you need, body? And ask your body. Ask your body, do you want a mask right now? Or body, do you want clove oil right now? And see what your body tells you. And do what your body tells you.
Yes. Yes, listen to your body. Your body's your best friend, really. And it's like a child. You have to nourish it and feed it. And when you're tired, sleep. When you're hungry, eat. Those are the rules of the body.
And by the way, talking about sleep, I'm talking about one of the ways to quicken your frequency. A good sleep is one of the very best ways because your pituitary gland, so we always send light to our various endocrine glands, but your pituitary gland stimulates your thalamus to put out T cells to protect your immune system, you know? And so sleeping is essential to having a strong immune system. Again, not being afraid, always my immune system not good enough. Rather, here, this is for you, body. I will take this oil, I will take this food, I will go to sleep. This is for you, body. That's one of my favorite sentences.
Chris, there are a lot of people
here.
Well, there are a lot of people that are very afraid and they can't sleep. So for example, you're about to go to sleep. What would you tell them to do before they go to sleep?
I would tell them to spin around so that you shut off the chatter. Spin around and then take perhaps lavender oil, essential oil of lavender, snuff it in your nose, put it on your heart, throw it on your pillow, and do not play with your iPhone or your computer before you go to bed, or the television, but have a little moment for you. Maybe you need to read, or maybe you spin around. But when you go to bed, you really say, here, I wrote this in my book, I say, I am happy. You know, you connect with your higher self, you connect with your body. For example, what color do I need now to fall asleep? I have found that when I can't sleep, if I take my fire finger, your third finger, and I place it over my pineal gland, and I ask my pineal gland what color it needs to put out melatonin, which will put me to sleep. And then whatever color, I kind of suck it in through my finger. And then all of a sudden, I just fall asleep. So that is a very effective way to help you to sleep. But majorly, you have to shut off the chatter. And so whatever you do, whether you meditate, but spinning will immediately cause a synchronicity of pulse in the left and right lobe of your brain, which will allow your brain to slow down, put you in an alpha state, and that helps you to sleep. So spinning, when you lie down, you know, asking your body what color it needs, feeling that, and here's a little secret, that this is your time. When I go to bed at night, I really have this, this is my time. It's my time to be with my body. It's my time. So I send light to my body. I give it a positive energy, and I fall asleep.
I love that. That is what I do. It's my favorite time because I'm just dropping into myself, you know,
Yes.
alone with,
Yes.
and that's best sleep. I go so deep sometimes, and
I love that you do that, Alan, because very often, especially spiritual people, feel like you're not allowed to. This is something that's been passed down psychogenetically through religions, that you can't be selfish, you know, and so you spend your whole time chattering with yourself about how the world sees you, instead of allowing yourself time, love for the self, you know, feeding yourself well and doing things that make you happy. That's very important.
that's why we incarnated. That's why we're here to enjoy the incarnation. So I want to ask you, because you work with a lot of past lives, a lot of people, you've seen hundreds of thousands, and from a global perspective, there have been plagues and dramas and disasters, but there's never been anything that has connected the whole planet at once with a global thought. You know, there seems to, like, everyone, because of the mass media and communication, is connected. Either they're thinking about the virus or it's in the consciousness, like a singularity of awareness. So what do you think that does for our species?
Well, I think, again, that when we begin to have a consciousness that says for the good of the whole, and we realize that we are cosmic citizens, you know, and that we're cosmic citizens, and we are a soul family here. So, for example, when I hold Sunday meditations, there's always a part at the end of the meditation where we pick a situation that's going on the planet, and then we each hold that situation in our mind's eye, and then we ask what color we need to give to that situation to heal it, to release it. And then each one draws that color. By the way, when you're sending color out, you never take it from inside you. When you're giving it to yourself, you suck it in. But if you're sending it out to the planet or a situation or a person, you imagine that you pull it from the cosmos down into your solar plexus, which is the center of your emotional body. And from your solar plexus ganglion, you radiate it out. And so if you could get in the habit when you go to bed or when you wake up or when you're driving or whatever you're doing, Earth, what do you need from me at this moment? Or what does all of humanity, I work a lot with the concept of humanity. In some of my work, we send, again, energy to humanity. Maybe it's that humanity be not afraid, or humanity wake up to their purpose, or love nature, or whatever the question is. You know, what do you need from me? And then we draw that color and we send it out to humanity. And that's what's necessary right now, that will pull us together.
Chris, you have a global community. You might want to tell the folks that are watching how they can access that, your healing for the planet?
Well, I have 3 different things. I have a thing called Human Nature Alliance, ECHO, SOS. It's free. You can join it. And whenever there's something like a pandemic or too much rain or too little or something, we'll send out so that everyone around the planet knows about it. Then everyone sends energy into it. So that creates a oneness. Then on my Sunday meditations, which are now virtual meditations, you can tune in on my YouTube channel for free. And we have a part where we practice, we meditate, and then there's some questions and answers. So people will send in questions and then I answer them. And then I have a thing called Global Echelon. And that is something that people sign into. And once a week for 20 minutes, we practice exercises in consciousness about the self. And then we focus on the planet, we focus on humanity. So these are so many ways that we can realize that we don't have to be in each other's physical presence. But that's part of the exercise right now. The purpose of this pandemic is to learn to use our intuitive essence to know that we're connecting to each other. We can connect to the streams of light, so that when you are sending energy to the planet or to someone who's sick, automatically you begin to feel that it's important and that you feel lighter. It quickens your own frequency when you help someone else.
Absolutely.
Yes.
When you give, you receive.
Yes, that's right. And the giver has the power. So if you're feeling vulnerable, my higher self always has said, whatever you want, give that. So for example, if you're concerned about your money, give money someplace. Drop it on the street and watch what happens. That's what I used to do with my students. It's very interesting to see what happens. Or if you want love, then give love. If you want to heal yourself, imagine all the people who need healing and send light to them. And all of a sudden, you'll feel stronger because the giver is using the power of life, using the power of the cosmos to make a difference.
That's so beautiful. So even at this time, we could really heal ourselves by helping so many people that are in need. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. It is a win-win. It is a win-win. And it's so wonderful
And we help
to feel that you have energy that might free someone from their fear or take them out of these conversations, If you get, and I'm so glad, Barbara, that you spoke about having the coronavirus.
The scarlet sea.
It doesn't have to be a terrible thing. It's just a moment. It's a timeout. It says, let me align. And for you who gives so much to the world, I'm sure that the reason you got it is so that you could, like we are doing right now, say, look at me. I am well. I am well. 24 hours. What a gift. My higher self has always said, what is the gift? And instead of being afraid, what is the gift in any situation? Maybe someone you love is dying and it breaks your heart. Ask inside, what is the gift of this? I can tell you that all the people who have survived and who have healed from coronavirus, that just like any of us who have died and come back, that we will have a new sense of purpose. Do we not? You have a sense of purpose now because you've been through it. So you can look in the eyes of the whole world and say, I've been there. I know what you're going through. You can get through this. This is the message we need.
You know what's happening? Sorry, Alan, one last thing about this is, up here especially, it's allergy season. So somebody coughs, everybody freaks out. And I saw a video you did, which was so helpful. And it was the lung mudra. And I gave it to my friend who had it. And I just wanted to know if you could show us, because if someone's coughing, or it doesn't mean you have COVID, but this was so, so peaceful. And I felt very empowered doing it.
Absolutely. This is one of the first things I was taught by Ayurvedic medicine, by Dr. Vincent Ladd, and that I could actually feel, because you can feel when you do these mudras, it changes the way the energy moves in the body. And so these mudras, there's 3 points, change the way your lungs are breathing, which are very important, whether you have a cold or a cough or the flu or the pandemic. And it will make a difference because they will help the body to heal. So I'll quickly go through them. You bring your fingers into this mudra like we call it a cat's eye. And yeah, that's beautiful. That's it. And then if you're in bed, for example, this is the way I sleep at night. I connect down to my groin because that makes a real powerful connection. You could do it while you're watching television or anything or whatever. But connecting it down into the groin lymphatic system is very powerful. So when you do this, what happens is it forces your lungs to breathe through the lower lungs, way down at the bottom. The right lung has 3 sections. The left lung has 2 because of the heart. So when you do this, it frees the pleurisy or the liquid at the bottom of the lungs and heals that. And so when you do that, if you watch your breath, you'll notice that your rib cage will move up and down like a column. And it's so exciting to see that there is a difference when you breathe like that. And then the major one is the same cat's eye, and you curl in your fingers. Do it, Barbara, so people can see you. Yes, like that. That is the middle lobe of the lung. This is where smokers get lesions, where people get pneumonia. So this is really important for the virus. So when you do that, what happens is it affects the middle lobe of the lungs. And so the rib cage will breathe laterally. It will breathe to the side, you know.
So actually,
so that really helps. Yeah, it's very different. You'll feel your rib cage expand out like this. Then if you wrap your fingers, this is the way newborn babies do. If you grab your thumb and hold your thumb with your hands down, put your hands going, yeah, like that, like this. Yeah, and just, you can put it in your lap or whatever. This opens the alveoli, which is where the virus usually attacks. That's why people can't breathe, because they get, the virus attacks the alveoli. Yes, so if you do this, it will cause you to breathe very light. If you do this, you'll find you can't breathe deeply. You're gonna pant like a little child, you know? And so that's a very good way. Oh, by the way, if you're coughing, I know a great secret to fix that. Hot water. Hot water, because what happens, especially because of allergies and stuff like that, or you're eating a lot of meat or chocolate or milk or cheese, it creates mucus, or even avena, I can't think of the word in English, oatmeal, it creates mucus. And so when you start to cough, it's because a little mucus is stuck in your throat, you know, and that's why you get this little coughing fit and you can't stop it. Hot water. Now I put essential oil of lemon in mine in the morning, but just hot water, it will stop it almost instantly. That's why I have this little thing here. It's allergy season in New Mexico. I'm out in my garden working like a mad fiend. But hot water it cuts the mucus instantly. It'll cut the mucus and suddenly you'll find yourself breathing. The trick of it is you want it to be really hot, but you don't want to burn your tongue. So you might want to test it with your finger first, and then just take after your first swig of hot water, you will feel your throat clear. It's like magic. You see, there's so many things.
There's so many ways to empower ourselves, and you've only shared a little bit in your incredible tool chest.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I want to talk about that tool, but I want to talk also because yes, you're good at just tuning into the present and seeing what needs to be done to activate the vital force, but you've also spent so many years in going deep into yourself and investigating the inner consciousness. And I want to know, if you care to share, what are some of the messages that you're getting, maybe from ETs, maybe from ultra terrestrials, of this moment? Go be wild. Tell us the deep, outrageous stuff that, if you want to share it, because this has been your practice.
This is not something I'm afraid of at all. I've worked in the incarnational field for over 66 years. So I'm basically the world authority on that. And I have, as you said, seen thousands of people. What I love when people go that deeply and realize that they hold within them, within the mind of the cells, memories and knowings of bodies they've had, male bodies, female bodies, being a healer, being a great being, being a fool. That as we look at ourselves that way, we can reinvent who we are. And that allows us to have a sense of peace. What I am hearing from the ethers, which I think is what you're asking me, what's going to happen in the future? Yeah. I can tell you one thing, one simple thing. It's not going to come from the ETs helping us. It's not going to come from the government or the heads of anything. It's going to come from each person inside, and that inner self is going to link with other inner selves, so that for the first time in American history, we're going to discover what it's like to be, again, a citizen, a community. And I am feeling that, however, I am feeling that right now there is an opening, because so many people are becoming conscious. They are asking, what is life? What is death? Who am I? What's my purpose? People are asking these questions, and as they ask these questions, it's echoing out into the ethers, into the cosmos, and it is attracting energies that are observing human, higher consciousness, entities of higher consciousness that are observing the human evolution. Because my higher self would say the purpose of life, simple, the evolution of your soul. What does that mean? That's a long conversation. Right. But what I am saying that I do feel is that we are coming to a time when we are pulling away the veils. The very fact that we have to talk to each other through a mechanism is part of what is about to happen, which is that that mechanism will go through many layers of possible reality and simultaneous space and synergy of energies. Everything is connected to everything, as Einstein said, and the Chinese have said for 5,000 years, so that we are about to experience entities or consciousness that's beyond what we think is real. I will be way out there and tell you a dream of my own that my higher self has told me. I can't imagine how this can happen, but I want to send it out to you. I have had many contacts with beings from other dimensions, through death, through life, through incarnational experiences, through third-dimensional experiences, right in my bedroom, right outside. What is coming to me is I have this image of going into the UN with a galactic being, taking them by the hand and taking them into the UN and saying to people of all religions, the people of all cultures, here are people who have a message for you. And that message is a message to all humanity on planet Earth. Stop thinking that God is punishing you. Stop thinking that you are here to suffer. It's not your purpose. It is your purpose to take away the veil and know that you are a part of the cosmos. Right now, the intensives at the Light Institute this year are called Universal Destiny. So my Universal Destiny, I've done that set on myself twice now. And it has allowed me to experience 12 galaxies, no, 12 universes with infinite galaxies. So I have a sense that this could happen to you. It could happen to any of you. If you have an experience where you feel that your higher self is speaking to you, or you feel the presence, a positive presence, don't be afraid. Invite that energy. It'll uplift you. But could you imagine going into the UN, going into any collective body with the presence of a being from another dimension that can say, no, do not be afraid. Do not think of your God in such a limited way. Expand your consciousness and include. You can include your gods. You can include your histories. You can include all of it. But see something bigger. and it will change your destiny
yeah.
and the destiny of planet Earth. So send
So
light to
we're
me.
becoming what's that?
Yes,
We're
I said send light to me. I
multi-dimensional.
want to bring that in. We are already
Okay.
multidimensional beings. We've had many lifetimes, and not all of them have been in human form. That's if you want to talk about shocking experiences that people have. And I work on scientists. I love to work on scientists who say, I don't believe in reincarnation. I say, oh, it doesn't matter. See what's inside you. And in comes this galactic being with them, you know. We have not always incarnated in human form on this earth. We have incarnated in many galaxies and many universes in many forms.
Chris, when
Reincarnation is a cosmic law. We will always incarnate because if the unmanifest doesn't take form, there's no evolution of form. So there will always be the unmanifest, the potential, coming into form, a form that your soul chooses, and then experiencing that, and then taking that information back from the manifest into the unmanifest. That cycle is eternal.
That's amazing.
But
When
we're
I was
graduating. I was just going to say, Chris, we're graduating from one level of humanity into an awareness that this is truth, that the multidimensional aspect of who we are is a reality, and that will change everything. Anyway,
that's one of the reasons why
what were you-
the reality that we have, you know, is we're pulling the curtain down on that. The illusions, for example, I have worked in the past with people who are afraid of people of other religions. And so I'll always say, good, ask your higher self to take you into the lifetime that's the cause of that, or a lifetime when you were that religion, or you were that race. It's so healing for someone to experience that multidimensionality as their own truth. And what they say afterwards is, I couldn't have made that up. I would never have thought of that. But it's in you.
Right.
It's
Chris,
in
when I was out there,
all of us are so much more than we think we are.
Chris, when I worked with you in Connecticut, I worked with you, we probably went through, I don't know, 70 lifetimes. But for people that are watching this, are you offering individual sessions? Are you offering workshops where people can get help with clearing of not being tied into old patterns, apart from the exercise?
I'm doing it for free with my meditations right now, consultations over the phone, or like we are doing. We have taken our intensives where you can work individually if you would like to look at your incarnations. Right now, that's not possible, but you can do what we call emotional clearing at the Light Institute with a facilitator and with me. And our next incarnational workshop is in Greece in September. I feel in September everything will have opened up, and we'll begin again probably, I would say probably June or July. You can come to the Light Institute and actually be there and have those incarnational experiences. But the next group one that we have planned is September in Greece. And
So
after that, we hope more.
All of this, you know, the flu season, all that stuff, that's not in your reality. Your reality is it's going to be clear and you're going to proceed with your workshop.
Yes. And when I say clear, what I mean is that people will have, as Alan is talking about and you are talking about, and you have demonstrated, that people will really say, I'm tired of being afraid. I have to get on with my life. And so we want to clear away again. For example, if we had more time right now, we could do an exercise of clearing the psychogenetics. What did you inherit physically? Not just the color of your eyes or your race. Emotionally, not just whether you have humor or you're always afraid or you're neurotic, or spiritually, how you see God. All of that psychogenetic energy can be cleared right now. And I think that the more that all of your listeners begin to say, I want to be among those who give the healing. I want to be among those who have a sense of purpose, that fear of the virus will go away and it will not have, again, quicken your frequency. You're not going to get the virus, and neither is anyone else.
Chris, I don't know your time frame, or Alan, but I know everyone online would love if you have
I'm good.
time, some experience. It could be short, just to buoy us up and
And
to.
the meditation. Also,
I
if you
have
want
one.
to do an experience, meditate. You have to what?
I have one for the virus, and then Alan, maybe I have one for you. But let's do one for the virus, okay? Let's do one for our immune systems that has to do with psychogenetics, the thing that I was just talking about. Are you ready? All right. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath into your body. Now ask your higher self. Your higher self is your own inner voice. It's the intuitive essence of your soul. It's the part of you that knows what is true. Ask your higher self, from whom in your family constellation, it could be someone you've never met before, or someone that's right there, it could even be your child. From whom in your family constellation have you inherited the potential of a powerful immune system? You might just suddenly hear a name or see a face. Just breathe deeply and wait and get the answer. From whom have you inherited a powerful immune system? You may never have thought you had one, but you have it in your genetics and you can bring it out now. So see who comes to you. And now ask your body where it holds that inheritance of a powerful immune system. Any place in your body. Bring your conscious awareness into that place and prick open the encapsulation and allow that sense of a powerful immune system. I don't have to be afraid because I'm strong. I'm stronger than that. Let that flow through your body. Now take a deep breath into your body and bring again that person into your mind's eye and ask them what frequency of light they need from you in gratitude for giving you that gift. Just take the first color that comes into your consciousness. Reach up into the cosmos, up into the sky, and imagine that you're pulling that color down, a beam of light of that color down to the top of your head, into your stomach, your solar plexus, and imagine that you're lasering that color out to that person that has given you genetically the potential of a powerful immune system. And give them that color until they dissolve away. Give them that gratitude. Now, breathe deeply into your body and ask your body to show you the precise point on your DNA. It's not in your body, it's actually on your DNA. You know what that double helix looks like. It could look like anything for you. But find the point that might look like a star or a bright light or a certain color, where you hold that psychogenetic inheritance of a potential strong immune system. See what it looks like for you. Now ask your higher self to show you the brightest, most radiant white light. It's the fastest frequency of all. And imagine that you laser it right onto that point, that genetic point of strong immunity, so that that white light blasts it open, activates it, amplifies it to support you now, so you can go on with the purpose of your life. And it blasted, and imagine it expanding. And now command, and I do mean command, the trillions of cells of your body, each to hold that echo of your powerful immune system of your genetic psychogenetic inheritance of that immune system. Command yourselves to hold that. Take a deep breath into your body and open your eyes. It's that simple. If
That
you
was-
put your attention,
That was
Isn't
really
that
good for me. Was it good for you, Alan?
It was good. I went somewhere. Yeah. I felt my relatives, my ancestors, my mother's side,
Fantastic.
actually, yes.
fantastic.
That's so
And
beautiful.
if you focus on that, you will suddenly have that sense. You know, I'm fine. I'm fine. I want to get on with my purpose in life. And that is wonderful.
Did you have one
It's
more
that
that you
simple.
Did you
Yes?
want one more you said? And then you have to, then we'll wrap it up. But yes.
All right. All right. Let's do one for you. Let's do one for that multidimensional self that we all have. And I would say, let me think about this. Let my higher self give this to me for a second. Yes, in the same way. So let us feel that we have that connection to higher consciousness. Maybe those are beings of higher consciousness and sentient beings from other dimensions. We are multidimensional beings. So ask your higher self. We're going to connect with that energy so that it can support us at this time. And again, open the veil for us so that we can harvest the energy, the consciousness of expanded awareness in our daily lives now, in our creativity, and how we reinvent ourselves and this world. So take a deep breath into your body. And breathe out slowly through your mouth. And ask your higher self to take you into the point of reference of your multidimensional, perhaps galactic, divine source. And just imagine, maybe you feel like you burst into a star or that you travel across the cosmos. But feel as if your higher self takes you to a point that is your source at this moment. And allow yourself to perceive it. It may feel like electricity or brilliant light or peace or water or expanded consciousness. Just allow yourself to be in that source. It's your source. Now, ask your higher self to touch a place in your body and create a spin point through which that source energy, that multidimensional, that cosmic universal energy, that divine source can support your life at this moment. Imagine the touch. It could be anywhere in your body. It could be even above your body. Spin point is a place that, like a vortex, that opens up and allows that source energy, that cosmic frequency that's part of your genetics. We are star people. We're made of the same carbon atoms. Feel that point in you, that spin point, and imagine that your higher self is guiding the energy through that and into your body now. And breathe deeply and allow yourself to feel it. It might feel electrical, it might feel smooth, it might feel still. Feel that energy flowing through that spin point and into your body. That will support you from a higher frequency and a higher conscious knowing. Now take a deep breath into your body and radiate that energy out from your body, out through your electromagnetic field, out through your aura, and out into the world. Send it like a beacon, this beautiful cosmic energy that is the source of every one of us, even as earth-born we are. The earth is within the cosmos. Radiate it out so that it expands the potential of conscious awareness and sense of self. Take a deep breath and open your eyes. And as your eyes open, feel as if you're still radiating that level of consciousness, a level of frequency, that connection that you have to your source. It's inclusive. It's not exclusive. It's inclusive. Whatever you perceive. Great love to you all.
Love you, Chris. Before you leave, I just want people to make sure, I don't know if you could type this, Alan, how can they reach you? How can they
Yes.
with you?
The Light Institute of Galisteo, or chrisgriscom.com, or Chris Griscom channel on YouTube. There are infinite arrays of ways that we can practice these exercises in consciousness to uplift ourselves, to quicken our frequency, and to really have a sense that we are not accidentally here and we are not the victims of this. That we will get through, each and all, in whatever way our souls choose.
Thank you, Chris. And Alan and I are sending you pink love light.
But thank you, Chris, for taking the time. Well, your life is about this. It's about sharing. It's about wisdom. So thank you for sharing this with us. And Barbara,
Time
tell
is
people about
time is a curtain. We have all the time in the world and all the worlds, Alan, really. All
Yes.
We do.
We do.
And thank you
We do,
so
because we
much for
all
your
know each other.
And I would be talking to the winds if it were not for you two. So I send you my gratitude, my true gratitude.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh,
We are soul family. We are soul family.
we are. We knew that when we met the first time in 1989, I think. Yeah. But Barbara,
Great
how
job.
could you do events every week, Barbara? Tell people about your work.
Oh, it's just, we have Zoom, a Life Balance, LIPHE balance.com, and wonderful, amazing souls like Chris, and all offerings to everyone, whether it's how to empower yourself with the earbuds for acupuncture, an osteopath that's tuning in from Florence. So please join our calls. There are 2 a week. And again, Life Balance. Chris, I just love you. Thank you. This was the best.
I you, Barbara. Until the next time.
Until the next
time. Chris, if you get some like vital information you want to come on, just let me know and boom, we'll do something, you know?
Anytime you have something and you'd like to chat with me, I am available.
Oh, we're on it.
Oh, also the Hertogs, JJ Hertog and his wife want to do a global meditation with you too at some point, okay?
I absolutely love them. They are heroes to me. I remember them so well. And my love to them.
All right, we'll do something with them, okay? Thanks. Okay, lots of love to you, Chris, to you, Barbara.
Love to everyone at the Light Institute. Alan, thank you. This was so much fun.
It was great.
It's been wonderful. And life could be fun. Oh, one last thing. I want to say to all of your people, we have the right to laugh right now. We can feel, we can understand the sorrow, we can experience it, but make room for joy, because joy is a great healer. We have the right.
I agree. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. I'm Alan Steinfeld for New Realities. Stay tuned for other upcoming live streams and uploaded shows. Subscribe, youtube.com/New Realities. Thanks for tuning in and give us some feedback.
Now, you hear? Bye.
Thanks, everybody.